My STI has been neglected for several months, and as you can tell, it's extremely dirty. There's dirt all over the car. The mud flaps have caked dirt all up inside of it. Been on several long distance road trips. I've taken it on gravel dirt roads. I've driven it in the rain. There's also little particles that are hard to see, like rail dust, which you normally can't see them, but they're very prominent on a white car. From start to finish, I'm gonna show you my process of how I detail my car and the products that I use.
Diving right in, I do a quick rinse down around the car to remove any loose contaminants that will easily just fall off. The nozzle on the end of the power washer I'm using is a 40-degree tip that is variable, but I always keep it on 40 because I don't want it to be very narrow and ruin the paint. It's really satisfying just knocking that cake dirt off, and because it's a non-painted surface, I don't mind getting close. I start the wash with the wheels. This is because I don't want any brake dust or contaminants to shoot up on a clean body if I do them last. I'm using Diablo Chemical Guys wheel cleaner, a wheel woolly, and a strong bristle brush. I always make sure to wet the woolly and add cleaner to it to make it extra soapy. I make sure to wipe everything down and get every nook and cranny, and this stuff works great, and you can just see it pull away all the dirt and grime from the wheel. To get the really tight areas, I use my bristle brush. This is a dedicated brush that I only use for the wheels, and I don't use it anywhere else on the car. I repeat this process for all of the wheels, doing them one at a time. You don't want the chemicals to dry on your wheels. Then it's time to move on to step 1 of the body. For a routine maintenance wash, I skip this step. But since I'm doing a full decontamination, I'm using Adam's strip wash to remove any previous wax and sealants. To minimize scratches on the paint, I'm using the 2-bucket method where I fill both buckets up with water, 1 bucket for clean water and 1 bucket for dirty water. Using a foam cannon is the most satisfying part of this entire process. Adam's strip wash is not a pH neutral product, and you should not use it for your routine washes and only when you want to do a full decontamination. I work in sections. I do the side, the front, the other side, and then the rear. I work from top to bottom, and I make sure to wash and rinse the mitt regularly so the dirt gets trapped in the bucket and doesn't scratch the paint. Next, I give the car a full rinse down and move on to step 2 of the body wash. I start by emptying both my buckets and refilling them with clean water. And for the soap, I'm using Adam's Mega Foam. Unlike strip wash, this product is pH neutral and will not remove any wax or sealants. So if you're just doing a normal maintenance wash, this is a perfect product to use. And as an added bonus, it produces a lot of foam. I'm following the same 2-bucket method as before, so I work in sections and I start from top to bottom. And also as before, I make sure to wash my mitt regularly in the dirty water bucket to get all that dirt and contaminant off the mitt and not on the car. I try to avoid washing the car in the sun, and I usually wash it on an overcast day so product doesn't dry and I don't have to worry about working quickly. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something so calming and enjoyable about just keeping your car clean and washing it on a nice weekend day. Once I've got the entire car rinsed off, it's time to remove these tiny particles called rail dust. To remove all these particles, I use an iron remover, and I use Adam's polishes because it's pre-diluted and I don't have to think about the mixture. What I also like about this product is that it turns purple when it's activated, and you can tell that it's working. Usually it removes it all in one go, but sometimes I do a couple passes if I still see some on the car, but other than that, that's all you have to do. To remove all the bug and tar, I use Mother's Speed Bug and Tar Remover. Foams right up when you spray it on, and it starts to dissolve all the bugs and tar. Later, I'll clay bar and remove any remaining bugs. Moving on to drying, I bring the car in the garage so I don't have to worry about the car drying in the sun. I used to use primarily towels, but now I use this little air dryer that blows hot air, and it makes drying your car very quick and very efficient. Also, it doesn't leave any streaks, so you don't have to worry about any watermarks. And it's perfect for getting in those tight areas like door jams and the mirrors where water will sometimes still leak out after you've dried it. For anything left behind, I finish off with a towel. Then it's time to remove all the stubborn contaminants with the clay bar kit. Most of the time the kits come with a clay lubricator like this one, but if you don't have one, make sure you buy one because you want to make sure both the body and the clay bar is lubricated and so it's not sticking to the paint. Clay barring is a great way to get all those stubborn contaminants off the car, like these bugs. If I was doing a full paint correction, I would clay bar the entire car, but I'm primarily doing just the front and the mirrors because that's where most of the contamination is. But I will walk around the car, and if there's anything very noticeable and obvious, I'll make sure to remove that. What's also important when you're clay barring is to make sure that after you do a small tiny section to fold over the clay so you can work the next section with a clean area of clay and it won't scratch any paint. And if you drop it on the floor, you cannot use it again. You must start with a fresh clay bar. Once I've wrapped up clay barring, I move on to waxing, and I use Chemical Guys Butter Wet Wax, which leaves a beautiful deep gloss shine, and it also makes your garage smell like bananas. I do the front bumper by hand because it's easier, so I use an applicator to apply the wax, let it sit for a minute, and then I buff it away and it leaves a beautiful shine. I use a random orbiter polisher to wax the rest of the car, going section by section, working in small areas. Before I start each section, I squeeze out 4 blobs of wax to the applicator pad, and then I stamp it down across the area to apply evenly. me, and I use the lowest setting on the orbital polisher, which is 1. You could use an applicator pad to apply the wax across the entire car, but I found that using the polisher is much quicker and more efficient, and it works just as good. I know I previously said that using the foam cannon was the most satisfying part of detailing my car, but buffing off that wax and getting that deep shine is way more satisfying. I wrap up by waxing any of the small areas and move on to start working on the wheels. For the sidewall of the tires, I'm using Wet Look Tire Shine Dressing by Chemical Guys, and to apply it I use a special applicator specifically for tires. I'll spray it on the pad, and once I apply it to the tires you can see immediately a beautiful deep shine. When applying and the shine starts to fade, I'll start adding a little bit more product to the applicator as I go. If you want less shine, you buff this off, otherwise you leave it as is. Then I'll bring out the butter wet wax again and I'll apply that to the face of the wheel. Because my wheels are more intricate, I use a smaller circular applicator pad that I can bend and mold into the hard to reach areas. And just like before, you'll buff it right off and it gives the wheels a brand new look. My car has a little bit of plastic, so to make those plastics a deep black again, I use Chemical Guys VRP, and I use the same applicator pad to apply the product to the plastics. You can buff this off if you want to, but I love the deep shine look, and unless there's a lot of product on the plastics, I leave it as is. And we're on to the final step of the detailing process, which is just getting those windows nice and clean with Obey Glass Cleaner.
And that is it. So that is my process and how I detail my car from start to finish. Before and after, it's so much different. I mean, you could just tell how much cleaner it looks, how much it shines. It probably takes me about 2 to 3 hours, depending on if I'm taking a break or anything like that. But roughly it's around 2.5, 3 hours to get the full detail if I'm doing everything that I need to. If you have any questions at all about any part of the process of the detail, be sure to throw them in the comment section. I'll definitely get back to you. Now, something to note is I'm not a professional detailer. I love just doing this at home. So I'm always learning, I'm always growing. If there's something I may have missed or something that I could improve on, I'd love to hear from you. So be sure to put that down below. If you want to see how I do the engine bay and the interior, I have 2 other videos on the channel walking through that process as well too. Probably put it out somewhere on the screen, I don't know where, but I'll put them on there. Be sure to check those out if you want to see how that process continues from the exterior to those other parts of the car. If you're a subscriber on the channel already, I want to stop and say thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching this video. The support goes a long way and I really appreciate it as I grow and build this channel more. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. And with that being said, I'll see you next time.